to Biz Chicks TV. We're here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. Here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. I'm here with my colleague and friend, Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's in the house. We're talking about bringing those profits in daily. Oh, guys, if you are not apprised of who Coach Caren is, let me tell you, she's got a background in running multi businesses so that when you come to her, she brings a wealth of information and experience. She has run janitorial services, she's done fashion design, distribution, merchandising. She has run child care centers. This woman is a powerhouse. So look, you best get your pencil and pen and get ready because she's going to drop some nuggets on us today about how to bring those profits in daily. Coach, what you got for us today?
Today we're talking about let's build CEO lives. That's what we're talking about. Let's build CEO lives because the last month we've been working on your goal setting, charting your workflows. So you've been getting built up to get yourself there. This is the other half of the year. And if you make a
Mhm.
decision that you're going to be the CEO of your business, you're going to do a mindset shift. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. When we do a mindset shift, we'll be able to see, even if it's not in the monies right away, but we can see and understand our development for the next half of the year. So quarter by quarter. So we're starting this third quarter and let's live, build CEO lives. Let's live into this thing, okay? Because we said we want it, we know we should do it, but lots of time we revert back to it.
Mm.
And as I was telling you, I think it was last week, we were talking about the hats and how people forget to put on those hats. Is you have to understand a lot of roles you're playing is in the meantime to get you to where you're going. But preparation is key. Preparation
Okay.
is key. And so usually we think we're going to jump into it because think about it. You've got kids, you've raised. If you have children and you raise them,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of parents don't realize that they have to let go gradually to allow the child to become the adult that they must be. And sometimes
Mm.
we blame kids, we're like, aren't you an adult? But we weren't releasing the reins little by little. The reins are released through teaching them chores, how you speak
Mm.
to them. I used to tell my kids, you get to ask me to go out. And then when you hit a certain age, you get to tell me you're going out. You don't have to ask permission anymore. Now you tell me, Mom, I'm going to a party with X, Y, and Z. This is what we're going to be doing. You're building up your a path so I can trust you and you can be to your word.
Mm-hmm.
If you take that trust and make me have to you stample on it, that's your own doing because I'm going to find out. It's just something that's going to happen. I'm going to know whether I don't have to check on you. Somebody's going to see you. I'm just going to know, and you're going to eventually tell me. So
Mm.
let's get our conversation going. You don't have to ask permission anymore. Now you're telling me that you're going out, and I'm okay with it. I remember when I first bring it to the table to my husband, he was like, no, they got to ask. I'm like, no, they can't jump into adulthood from 60. They have to grow into it. So they're taking responsibility. So like my son went out the first time. I guess he drank a little bit too much. He was in a lot of trouble, but he called us and he says, I'm here. I can't come home, Mom. I could come, but X, Y, and Z. So, okay, we'll come pick you up. We pick him up and I said, what happened? You got to speak right now because, we got some choices here. He told us what happened. We brought him home and then we did a conversation when he was in a better state of mind.
I
And
like that. I love the way you said that. In a better state of mind. Okay. Yeah. It's a growing process. Go ahead.
right. So now he's understanding that, hey, and I say to him after a couple of weeks, I says, if you think you can drink 4 shots, drink 2. Because I know you're with people and you want to drink. Drink 2. I'm not telling you not to drink because your body's going to tell you when you can drink. I promise you. I don't have to do anything about it. It's going to tell you, right? So drink 2, feel good so you can come home. If you know
Mhm.
you're not going to come home, tell us that you're going to be with a friend. Let's know what's going on. These are choices you're going to have to make throughout the rest of your life as you know, 18, 21. So Let's start making them now. I'm not going to be upset with you. Now, part of me is going to be a little worried and a little frustrated because I want it a certain way. But this my own growing pains now is to adjust my thinking and my processes into I have an adult son. He's not going to come home every night when he goes with friends. If the party's closer to these, these guys he grew up with together, that's where he's going to be. Because likewise, when it's closer to us, he'll ask me, Mom, could the boys come over? And I would say yes. So it's a give and take. So Karen, how are you going to feel about this? So I'm arguing with myself about this, but I know ultimately he needs me to let one strand go, then two, then three, then four. And it's not an easy task, moms. I know it's not easy.
It's not. And sometimes it's very painful to watch because they don't always make the decision we would like them to make.
Exactly. And then they might go off on a spree. So I'm saying all of this to say to you guys, we're talking about business. I'll bring it back to that.
Okay.
I'm saying all of this to say is when you're going to live your best CEO life, those growing pains do not change. They're right there with you. Same idea. So we'll answer a couple of questions. What kind of CEO would you want to be? You need to know the kind you want to be. There's several kinds. There's the micromanager CEO. Yeah. The one who say, you take the reins and go. And then when you finally sit them down, they don't want to hear what you got to tell them, the CFO, the bookkeeper, whatever. You decide what kind you want to be. And once you decide, you work towards that. Now, you might not like it right away. You have to grow into the role. And whether it suits you or not, you'll find out along the way. Nobody can gift you this. This is a journey to your gift. You cannot get there without the growing pains. Let me just tell you, period.
Well, our friend C says, yes, let's build CEO lives.
Yes, Fred. Let's think about it that way, right? And how would you function in your new role? You got to know that. And then what would your favorite part be? And then lean into that when it's hard. Okay. You want to get a part that you love and you lean into. Okay. So when you know what kind you want to be, you decide what kind you want to be. Decide it. Give yourself 3 theirs and decide the kind who is. If you know you like to see every nitty-gritty thing, I want you to own it instead of fight it.
Okay.
I'm a person who like things to be perfect. So own it. And then ask yourself, how can you let go of your perfection in 2, 3, 5 steps? By giving people roles, watching them mess up, correct them kindly, and have a conversation of how it could have been better. This is hard, guys. I'm not trying to pretend this is easy, but it's doable. Okay.
Okay.
If you're the kind that want to let go and let them do whatever they want to do, again, you still need a couple of steps because you can't hand over everything to people without being involved. It's your company. Now you get to that level, but you don't start there. Okay. You don't start it, but you get to that level. All right. And then now if you're the kind of person who is, like half in and half out you want to, but you still got your hand meddling in it. Again, every step I want you to own, no matter which one you pick, I want you to own it and figure out what you're going to do. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day about, I'm telling them, I'm like, you're growing into your CEO life right now. And so it's hard for you. And so everything you're doing feel like you're starting over this business because that's what it feels like if you didn't start off thinking you were a CEO, because I don't think sometimes people realize that. So, because if you did, you would probably go investigate what a CEO does. So then you'd work your way that way. So now this is a whole mind shift, because if you're coming from, I make phone covers, I make water bottles, that's what you're an operation officer, you're a production officer. This is what you do. You don't manage, you do the work, you do all the work, and that is okay. Talk to Terry about hats. You might want to get the hat that I'm an operation officer right now. I'm a production officer right now. I'm not in my CEO level. And that's okay because I'm working towards it. So I want you to think about this way, right? I want you to see, this is where you want to be. And you've got to put a couple of people under here, right? About 3 people. And you're doing everybody's role right now. when you are doing their role, I want you to be in that role and don't whine about, I'm the CEO. Why am I not working in my business? I want you to just do that role really well. And I want you to put on a timer. I want you to write down all the steps in that role. I want you to start a training while you're training you, if you're not training the role, so that you can pass the role on to your successor.
It makes sense. And the thing is, the only way to know what you need done is to have done it
Yes.
and to have recorded in some kind of way what it is you do when you are engaged in that portion of the business. Does that
Make perfect sense,
oh,
because people are going to come to you with problems after you teach them and train them and learn. They can come, and so now you better have answers for those things, and they're going to be ones that you wouldn't know, and then you'll get back to them on it because you haven't experienced it yourself.
uh-huh.
A woman came into a group of mine, my cleaning company group, and she was saying that I want to own a cleaning business and I don't want to clean. People don't please don't tell me about cleaning. And we all, yeah, I think we all were bopping our heads and rolling our eyes and carrying on in the background because a few of us spoke up. I mean, like,
Uh-huh.
lady, even if you don't want to clean, go clean your house and figure out some stuff. Because no matter the best cleaner that you would hire, she might not clean the way you want your company to be represented. And when the house owner call, the homeowner call, you cannot have a real valid conversation with her. She says to you, listen, the cleaner was fabulous, but I noticed in two corners there's a lot of cobweb and dust on the baseboard. Do you guys handle that? And what are you saying? Oh, well, I'll talk to her. No, you got to be able to say, hey, we clean the cobwebs and anything that has mildew on the clean that we're coming to get the home ready for a regular clean. So it's a different kind of clean. And you didn't want to purchase that clean. So we'll get to each section at a time because now we're trying to fix that little by little. So
Mm.
in a couple of visits, she'll reach that. But right now, she can't get to it. Now, if you want to buy that clean, we can come in and do a thorough,
Do a
and then
deep
she'll get back
clean.
to regular schedule. But if you never clean, you don't know that. You don't know what to say. You read a book and they tell you, well, when somebody hits you with a question, you have no answers because you haven't experienced it, right?
Mhm.
And now you're mad with your employee. And your employee say, you can't talk to me like that. I cleaning for you. I'm going to quit. Because cleaners can
Exactly.
quit like that because they're going to get another job. So now you're coming to the group and we've seen her several times. The cleaners are just quitting on me. Of course they are. They're upset that you don't know what they're talking about. They're mad that you're taking the homeowner side without, because you're so
Without,
mad you want to be a CEO.
yeah, without investigating what's really going on here. And do you have a policy regarding this? Yeah. I think this is one of the most crucial things is people need lessons sometimes in how to talk to people.
They do. They do
They
badly.
just
They do badly.
and I really didn't run into this till I went into corporate America, and they, you know what they called it? They said you lacked people skills. In other words, you don't know how to talk to folks. You just
I know. That's something I tell homeowners. I say, I send the first letter and I said, I would say, didn't read the letter. I said, you got to speak to the people that's coming in your home properly because we will address you properly. I
mhm,
will ask you who you like to be addressed as. And so when you tell me, I'll tell the employee. And you can't curse at them. You can't be
mhm.
rude to them. It's not allowed. This is not the way we behave. That's not how this company ran.
This is not what we do.
Mm-mm. If you do that, we'll fire you on the spot.
Mhm,
Doesn't matter how much money you bring into our company. We won't keep you. And I've had to let clients go because they were rude to my people. Because we're not having it. We're not allowing it. We're not tolerating it. Mm-mm. We're not doing that. So you be able to say that when you understand who you are in your business and you're not worried. Every time people say to me, but Karen, what am I going to do? Because then I would have a house less, or if they're teaching something, well, I won't have enough students, whatever it is, everybody feels that way. Trust me, no matter how much
mhm.
money you got, no matter how much money you don't have, you feel panic when you lose your first employee, 10 employee, you feel panic. Part of you panics. But then you come right back. Once you experience, you're like, okay, So that girl needed to go truly, but I wasn't letting her go. So she left herself. Or we can
Mm-hmm.
tell the client was ready to leave, but they didn't know how to leave. So they start whining and complaining. If it's a new client that is complaining initially, I will personally either go in those days or call them and say, hey, can we have a conversation? The cleaners are
Mm-hmm.
coming in Thursday, but I want to come see you Monday. And I
Mm.
want to know exactly. I had a client, she'd leave and then she came back. We had her for 3 years, and then she left and she came back and she spent another 2 with us. And when she left, when she was leaving the first time, the husband hired us, but she was always picky. She was a teacher. And I said to her, I need to come see you. And she says, I
Uh-huh.
don't have any time, Caren. I said, I know you don't have any time. So do I, but we got to make some time. And I went and see her. And her
Mm-hmm.
cancer came back and she was frustrated and annoyed. And so that was what was happening to her. It wasn't the clean. But because I went in person, we had a coffee, we talk about it. I said, what we're going to do is take a month off. You're going to see how the house get, and then you'll decide if you want us to return.
Nice.
She called us in the third week. I said, we will stick to the month off. We'll return the other week. But she was going through this period where her health, and she was just in this turmoil. And so as a business owner, you have to spend time figuring that out. And if you become a CEO, you can decide what kind you want. I'm the kind that still want to talk to my people, especially
Mm-hmm.
the long people who were with me 3-5 years. I want to see what's going on with them. Now, some CEO might want to send an assistant to do that talking. And no, nothing's wrong with that once they're well trained. But I like that human to human touch because I
Mm-hmm.
think it just goes. Maybe my business is not a multi-million, that's why, but it goes so much further than, because when you're the CEO also, your day is a little bit different and you're not out in all the fires. So you can truly make time for somebody on a Monday morning if they're available,
Okay.
or a Tuesday. Like you could set aside 2 days that if there's a crisis, you can go talk to your people. Some people are just having a hard time. And this lady was cancer, you know. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just good for us to talk and then end up praying about it. and, end up, and she just cried. And I think she just wanted a conversation.
I think sometimes we don't know what we need when
Yeah.
we're in that situation
Yeah.
because we've never been there before. We don't know how much to share. We
Yes.
don't know, who is a trusted confidant.
Yes.
Um, and we know we need encouragement, and everybody is not always an encourager.
Yes.
So we're careful about who we let in and out.
Hmm. Exactly.
Uh, Yeah,
Exactly. And that
but
happens.
but frustration does come out another way.
Yeah, in a wrong way. So when you start understanding your role because you've worn the hats and you know where things go. And I'm not saying that everybody has to go nitty-gritty, but I'm just saying you need to know enough. And you
Hmm.
have to be willing to keep learning outside of what you know so you can really build a really foundational business. Really, I love foundational businesses because it's a lot of pain initially, but you grow into the best self you could be and better than you could even imagine you get into when you start good. So when you are ordering and delegating and talking to people, you know what you're talking about. And then who comes and work for you,
Hmm.
understand you, the person. And so when they're speaking for you, they're speaking in a manner, in a tone that you would appreciate.
There you go.
And how you get to live that life because you've got somebody, and anybody that has to be hired pass through them. When I was a dishwasher, the president of the company, the CEOs was a brother and sister, but the president of the company was this type of a man who, I mean, when I first met him, I questioned myself. He was so soft spoken, Terry.
Hmm.
He talked to everybody nicely. And I did think to myself, how is he getting people to just do? Because he's so approachable. Everybody go talk to Mr. Mitchell about anything. And he just listens. And if his secretary would say, he's busy today, he can't see anybody, he would poke his head out and he would say, oh, is that you, Caren? I might be able to see you right away, but give me a few hours. Let me clear my table. Like, you need to see me. There's some reason. I could talk with you. And if it's something he can do, he says, you'll talk to Mr. Short Eyes. That's the owner, CEO. one of the siblings. And there were people who really, they weren't running their company hands on,
Mm-hmm.
but they were hands on. It seems crazy because when you need them, they were there. But
Uh-huh.
they weren't there in your face looking and picking. No, but when you need them, they were. There was a matter that couldn't be dissolved with, your supervisor, your manager, or the general manager. You can go book an appointment. And he was serious about that. So my door's open. Book an appointment, come see me. If it's not getting resolved, the people right over you because sometimes they're too close to the situation.
How
No
many times have
disrespect.
you heard people say we have an open door policy? But yeah, it might be open, but is your heart open when I come in
Aha.
here?
Exactly. And that was the key with him. His heart was open. The owner, at least one half of the owner, the CEO, his heart was open. So you
Mm-hmm.
can have a conversation with them. And that's why when people tell me they're busy, I'm like, this is a guy that did surgery 3 to 4 times a week and he still had time. Please, you've got time. And I remember the time we had the discussion. He says, Karen, I make time for people because people is what make the world go around. How could you not have time for people?
Wow.
Period. I
There you
have
go.
time for people. I have time for my wife, my children, and I have time for people. We have time for people. We're supposed to be in the people business. This is what we're in. We have time for
Okay.
people.
And this is who we serve. This is,
Yes.
you know,
Yes. So having the name doesn't mean you sit on the pulpit and do nothing. Having the name is, you hear all the things I'm talking about, guys. These are all the things that you want to work into you being the CEO. Okay. When you building CEO lives, when you're getting yourself there, you have to understand what you're doing, why you're building towards this. And this is why I want you to understand what kind of CEO you are. This is why I want you to understand how you're going to position yourself as a CEO, how
so
your role, what kind of functioning role would you have?
mm,
I once listened to a man on a podcast. He was a guy from the Bahamas, and he had sold this company. But before he sold it, a mentor of his says, "You need to hire CEO." And he said, "What do you mean? I run this company. I'm the CEO. Me and my wife, me and my children." He says, "No, you own the company, but you're not a CEO. You haven't understood the role. And I love you, but you don't do a good job of it. You never
mm,
understood your Pacific role." And he said, because you couldn't move from doing everything. So when you were able to do, as you quote, nothing, you literally did nothing.
mm.
He said, so I want to go hire CEO and I'm going to recommend a guy to you. And I want you to listen to him carefully. He's going to cost you a pretty penny, but I want you to hire him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm not going to lie. I was mad. I was upset, but I hired him. He said, when you're growing a business, you do what you got to do. He said, I hire him. And he says, the guy came in and how the guy helped me. I couldn't believe it. I understood why he charged so much. I understood what he told me. He said to me, you cannot sell the business at the moment. You're going to need 2 years. The
Mm.
business is not ready to be sold. Now, you could sell it for what? For peanuts. But if you want substantial money, you need to understand your business. And he said the guy walked him through. Took the first 3 months, he was just mad because he said for 90 days, he felt like the guy was doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But what the guy was doing is going to all his employees and talking to them individually, and finding out their pains, what was bugging them, what wasn't serving them. He found out about 6 of them was willing to quit, was about to quit, and he didn't know this. He found out somebody else's mom was in the hospital and couldn't get time off because of the manager at the time. He says, when the guy brought me reports in 90 days, I was like, me and my wife was just looking at it and said, well, we're here. How come nobody come to us? Just like you said, open door policy, but mine was never open. But he didn't realize he was doing that
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't understand where he was lying, where he lived. And he said at the end, I'm not going to go through the whole thing for you guys here, but at the end, the guy told him, you need to sit back. And now that you're leaving this position, you need to leave with knowing who you were, who you work through, and who you want to be in your next adventure. Because you're going to open another company at some point. I know it. Whether you know it now or not, I know it. You're going to do it. And the guy was right because he opened another company. But he said the guy, when he sat with himself and he looked at everything, he said, without a shadow of a doubt, it's like God was pouring down in him. He knew what he needed to do with the people that work for him.
To have a different connection.
altogether.
And this not only goes for our employees, if we
Mhm.
have employees, it also goes for our customers. Like you said, it's just really important to make sure that those connections are working.
You when you don't know, you can't fix it. Fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fix something that you don't know. And this is the part that lots of time people do not understand. You can't fix it. So this is how I position CEO. A CEO is clear, they have empathy, and they're empty and expecting, and they're open because they have to be open for changes that the people that you're trusting to do the work in your company is bringing you value.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, let's say you had a soap company, and this was true for a friend of mine, uncle in law. He was a soap cutter at a factory,
Okay.
and he wanted to help them cut soap differently, tell them how to do differently. And he went to his supervisor, and the supervisor said, "This is how we've been doing it for years. We're not doing anything different." And so he went to the manager, and the manager was like, "Heck no, we're not doing that. Like, this is how it rolls." And he was happened to be coming back from the washroom, and he didn't know it was the CEO was walking around because he never met him, and he was just grumbling to himself, "There's so much better way they can do this thing," and nobody would listen. And the guy said to him, "I would listen." And he says, "Oh, you're new here, so of course you'd listen. You don't know what's going on." He goes, "No, but I'd like to learn."
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh yeah, would you mind talking to me in your lunch break?" And he said to him, "Sure." Because I've been telling two guys and nobody would listen to me. And the guy listened to everything he says and make notes of it. And then slowly they implement it.
Mm.
Total different. Let's say the company was making $1 million, they implemented and they were at about 2 point whatever in the space of a year.
You know,
Small tweaks.
the people who do the job know what's going on and where things could be improved.
This is why as CEOs you have to be open and you have to be expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're open and expecting one, two clear words, you understand that people can bring, because when you were building the company, you were coming up with ideas because you were working in there. I
Mm-hmm.
love when I write a piece because then there's so much more to pour into me as I write that piece.
Mm-hmm.
When I decide to make a garment, like my daughter wanted a garment with a drawback, and I knew what she wanted, but I understood what she wanted wouldn't work well with her body type. And although she's slim, but she got some bum. So I said to her, "Give me a chance to do something different to the back. We're gonna do some straps and buttonholes." And I mean, the dress came out beautiful because I could see where, even though this is what she wanted, it wouldn't sit well with how the back is lining up. But I
Mm-hmm.
know implementing that and using the zipper instead of a zipper, but styled wise, it would hold everything together beautifully. But that's because I'm working on it. I'm working in it. I'm seeing what's happening. So when you elevate yourself and you're not doing the hands-on, the operational and the, stuff, you're gonna have to talk to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that you put in place, that you train, they're gonna be better than you. You hear people say hire people that's better than you. They're gonna become better than you because they're in it night and day. They have figured out how to sew on a button better than you if you're in the sewing
Mm-hmm.
arena. They're gonna figure out how to. I had a friend of mine when I was doing pajamas a lot. Like I saw the pajamas, she's like, "Caren, here's how I'm gonna help you as a friend. I know to find anything that any loose threads and any little whatever, I will spot it quickly." And Terry, not gonna lie to you, when she came the afternoon and I said, "Well, I don't think that's necessary." She said, "You're going to be selling top of the line PJs and we want not a thread missing. So I'm going to be the cleanup girl," right? And I am telling you,
Quality assurance. Yeah.
was she ever the cleanup girl, quality assurance girl? Nothing was passing by her. And she came 2, 3 times a week and she would like, "Where's my pile?" And sometimes I would miss something. She would just go through the whole pile,
Mm-hmm.
clean up
Mm-hmm.
any loose thread, anything that is not sitting right. The button might be off a little bit, everything. And she'll just pile them. And then she'll leave me a sticky note, button needs straightening up,
Yes.
it was turned well. And let me tell you guys, she cannot sew. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
seamstress. This is a tech woman. This is a woman.
But you know something? She's a customer.
Hmm.
She I think this is something that we need to do often as CEOs is to get behind the counter as a customer, go to the other side of the apartment, go to the other side of the counter and see what it feels like as a customer.
And she was big on that. She was big on that. She was that
Mhm.
girl. She was big on that because they'd own a travel lodge. She and her family, they'd own a pizza joint. So she grew up in serving people. This is her mission. Keep telling her she's closed her business now for a bit, but I keep telling her she's a service person. She
Mhm.
really understands customer service. And she served customers well. She'll do
And
so
that is
good in
a
anybody's company. Let me
and
tell you.
that's a rare quality. But
Yes.
coach, so let's
Oh,
wrap
yeah.
this
Woo.
up.
I
Mhm.
got carried away. This topic got me carried away. Sorry, guys.
But I love, you know what, when we start sharing stories, you know
Yes.
what I mean? You can't cut a story off in the middle of the show. Go ahead.
Okay, guys. So we gotta just wrap it up. Today we talk about defining what kind of CEO you want to be, how you want to function in that, and find a
Mhm.
favorite part that you love. And this was part one. Because there's so much more I want to talk about being a CEO, about building your CEO lives and understanding how it functions. I'm just going to leave you with this because you can be the CEO of your life in your home. That's where it should really start.
I
That's
love that.
really where it should start. Okay.
I love that. Be the CEO in your life and in your home. That's just that's a wrap, guys.
That's
Okay,
it, right?
there's nothing to be added. I just want to remind you all that Coach Karen can be found on Facebook and on Instagram. You need to connect with her. Make sure you go in and book an appointment. We just we love her, and she's a trusted source, and she's a great
Thank you.
coach. As you can see, she's very empathetic and loves to connect with her customers, with her and with her clients. So with that, we want to remind everybody that if you're looking also to become a part of Biz Chicks, you can simply text biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net and become a part of our community. We'd
Hmm.
love to share with our community what it is you do and how you serve.
Yes.
With that, we love you, and remember that, hey, it's okay to make money in your business. So go to the front of your own line. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again, Coach.
Oh, you're welcome.
All you do. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in today. We trust you've learned something to help you build a more profitable business and take the hassle out of your hustle. See you next time.